The following program is for adult audiences only.
Time to open up some whoop ass.
We bring the heart to the heartland, where the souls collide, dreams expand, not arms are set high. We're bumping chops and running roads in the world of pro wrestling, where the weak will show. From the top row to the depths below, the warriors in the ring with nowhere to go. Blood, sweat, and tears, it's a battle of the wills. We bring the heart to the heartland. Heart to the heartland. Turn the volume up, they can hear from hell. Everyone's ready, so let's ring the bell. Ding, 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 let's start the clock. HVW, yeah, we're bumping chops.
Welcome back to HCW's Bumping Chops, where the chops hurt and the words mean nothing. I'm your host, Billy Simmons, co-owner of Heartland Championship Wrestling, and this is my good buddy, Bobby Casey.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back again to another episode of Bumping Chops. Bumping Chops is proudly presented to you by the Chubby Buddy Studio. So make sure you follow us and subscribe to YouTube. That way you get all Bumping Chops updates for all new episodes. And also follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and also TikTok.
And for more information on HCW, follow us at HCW Live 23 on all social platforms. That is HCW Live 23.
Today, I guess we're going to hit off with... we're kind of catching up from Christmas, so we'll kind of find out about everybody's Christmases and stuff like that. But we took a little bit of a hiatus so that way we can be with family and friends. But today we're going to highlight what is going to be coming up for HCW. That's going to be the biggest thing. We're going to talk about the upcoming show, New Year's Mayhem. We're going to hit you with some wrestling today in wrestling history, which was January 20th of whatever year I have on my phone. I don't know what it is yet. But and then we've got a special guest, as we've been consistent with. I think that's the most consistent thing we've been with.
Yeah, I got a while back I said, we get more interactions and stuff when we bring guests on, and I have a whole plethora of guests that we can bring on. So, figured we can do it every time we run a podcast.
Well, today's guest is very special.
Yeah, he's the man.
Got a bolo out for him, I think, too, doesn't he? Be on the lookout. From the Sedgwick County Zoo, is that right?
He is from the Sedgwick County Zoo.
And I got to ask him about this one. He's known as Hembo Slice also. I got to know about that.
He is a mountain of a man, a carnivore, if you per se. He is the man, the myth, the legend, the Carnivore Remington Rhor.
What's up, fellas?
What's up, big dog? How are you?
Nothing. Living, eat or be eating every day. You know how it goes.
So what's the Hembo Slice thing? You got to tell us about that before we move on. Before I forget.
You know Hembo Slice. One of the baddest men ever walk inside of a cage. And so a Hembo is known as like a big, beefy dude with like kind of like a male version of a bimbo. Good looking dude, a lot of muscles, that kind of stuff. And so Schwartzy came up to me, man. I was like, dude, it's like you beat the crap out of people in the ring. You throw hands, but you're like, you look like the cover of a romance novel. Like you have the long hair, the big muscles, and all that jazz.
Fabio.
He's like, why don't we just call you Hembo Slice? I was like, dude, I've been wanting to go by that moniker for forever, but like, I have to wait for the nickname to come to me. I can't make my own nickname. So that's where that kind of came from.
And he gave it to you right then.
Yeah. Because I always tell people, it's like, don't worry about the weapons in the ring. It's like, the weapons are right here. Like,
bro, that's no joke. No joke. So how you been, big dog? What's been up? What's new?
Kind of laying low for a little bit, man. Kind of waiting to get the year started with the big bang. But I just, I moved back to Kansas. Getting kind of life a little bit readjusted. I had a kind of pretty busy year last year, man. A lot of traveling, not a lot of sleep. So I've been catching up on that. But just getting ready for my big match this weekend in Houston. So it's me and the ultraviolet beast Masada going toe-to-toe to Deathmatch. So
Bro, that match is a match I think you've been wanting for quite a while. So
long time.
I'm so excited, and You know, when you first started this journey in this crazy ass business we do, one thing you always said was, this is kind of the wrestling I want to do. And you went out and sought it. And, you know, they call you the Deathmatch Jesus. Hembo Slice. You've been putting your body on the line. Speaking of that, man, how's that body doing? How you healing up? How's it feeling?
It's doing good, man. I actually been kind of fighting off a cold for like the past like 2 weeks. So I finally just got over it today. So like I feel great today. I've been eating normal. I can breathe normal. Like, you know, I'm about to hit the gym after this real hard. Like, I'm excited. You know, I kind of built up what I call a bit of a turtle shell, like on my back. Like my last big death match I did was AWR's tournament, which I won and ended up getting the AWR heavyweight championship from. But I went 3 rounds. Last round we had 250 light tubes, and I'm pretty sure we went through all of them. And I walked away from that like not even that caught up, you know. Oh, wow. So
yeah, it's starting to get all them calluses and them scars, you know, just building up on that massive body of yours.
Yeah, I gotta getting the battle flag covered a good bit, but I gotta make sure I can get good body color still. Like, otherwise it gets harder.
I get that. Then you got to do more crazy stuff.
Right. And I mean, I'm down, but you know, it's still...
You're always down, you crazy animal.
Deathmatch Jesus. That's the first time I've heard that one.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh man.
Well, I mean, I know what he does. Like, I know what he's known for, but I've never heard that name yet. So
yeah, it went around for a while. That one.
That's one that Gary Emmett threw that one out there first.
He did. He's a good dude too. Very good dude. Gary's a
good dude.
Very, very good dude.
Well, hey man, just the rundown of what's going to happen. I'm going to hit us with some today in wrestling history, and then we'll get back to some more questions for you, and then we'll get right into the next show coming up. How's that?
Yeah.
All right. Oh, yeah. Let's just get that going. All right. So in 1997, January 20th, 1997, on WCW Monday Night Nitro, Sting, in his crow gimmick, rappelled from the rafters of the arena. He appeared to confront Macho Man Randy Savage and test his loyalty to the WCW, because by offering Savage a free shot at his back with the baseball bat. Do you remember that?
I do remember that. Sting was gone for quite a while, and came back with the crow style gimmick. And my favorite version of Sting is the Venice Beach.
Surfer. You like Surfer Sting?
100% love Surfer Sting. It was my absolute favorite version of Sting, which is cool that you did a WCW Today in History, because we couldn't do training this week, so I told all the students that their matches they were to watch were from the WCW era. So I've been getting a lot of feedback and kids posting about what they're seeing and some of the differences between wrestling then and wrestling now. So it's been kind of cool.
And all I did was say what happened January 20th in wrestling history. It's like that was the first thing that popped up. So I was like, well, we all know who Sting was.
Oh yeah,
that's facts.
So, but no. Now, before we get started, are you one of? Is he one of your trainees?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah, dude. I'm an OG.
Yeah, he is an OG.
Well, let's go. So you were like class 1, patient A.
Yeah. So when I took over XWE's training class, Rim came in and trained for a while, and then he took a hiatus. Went and dug deep into his music career for a little bit, and then he was right back in, but never lost the passions. He's always been an animal, and he works fucking hard, and I love it.
So, like, were you? I didn't know this about you. Were you a rocker or what?
Oh yeah, dude. I play bass and I do vocals. I have since I moved back, I'm getting the band back together. My band's called Fossilized. We're a three-piece, and we play like kind of a heavy death metal, like hardcore punk mix. So
you and Colton knew each other from the streets, or no?
Oh yeah, we've played a lot of shows together. I'm in one of Colton's music videos.
Oh wow.
Yeah. I played bass in his like music video stuff. Yeah.
Learn something new, man. Hey, why don't you kind of talk about like what you're passionate about? Like the first time I've ever talked to you was actually the first time I met you was we did a little thing premiering HEW's first show in Wichita. It was for the Air Capital Brawl. Yeah. You and Aaron Helms. We were kind of going back down your childhood and talking about how you've always been known for being a very colorful wrestler. Yeah. Wanting the color red in the ring and all that.
So it's usually red.
So kind of tell us about that. You and Aaron Helms, and then kind of what took you down the road of wanting to get into the hardcore style of wrestling.
Well, like me and Helms have been friends, since we were 7, man. Like he's the reason why I got into wrestling in the first place. Like I watched it a bit and played the games a bit with my cousins, but I never really understood like anything past the superhero style characters. Like I always loved Taker and Mankind and Kane and the Big Show, the bigger than life dudes. But when me and Helm became friends, man, that's what he was obsessed with. Like he loved wrestling, and so he made me start watching Monday nights, and then at the time we'd watch ECW on Tuesdays, then we watched TNA on Thursdays and SmackDown on Fridays, and that was our whole like every week we'd watch every single show, and then we started working out with it too. Like in between commercial breaks, we do like sets of 20 push-ups, sets of 20 sit-ups. Like eventually I got dumbbells and started doing sets of 20 on curls, sets of 20 on lat raises until like the matches would come back on, and then we start watching the show again. Then like eventually he got like super into the wrestling forums, and so we started seeing all the crazy underground stuff or like the crazy backyard stuff. Like there was this group from New York, and they wrestled on like one of those like kind of heavy duty asphalt bottom playgrounds, and they do the craziest stuff, like doing swantons off the top of the slides or doing like tilt-a-whirl uranagis straight on the asphalt, and seeing that was cool. And then seeing clips of like TOD, like CZW and stuff like that's what like latched my brain onto that. Seeing Sick Nick Mondo and Wife Beater just throwing hands, and then Mondo taking weed whacker shots after like a 300 light tube death match, like talking about like diesel powered weed whackers, not electric.
Oof. And you were like that wasn't a fear of yours, like, man, what's my back gonna look like? Because now the way I look at it, it's like,
I thought about it because like we started backyarding and stuff, and we had a couple of guys who were like, that's what they really wanted to do too. But I was like, yo, if my mom catches me doing this, she's gonna beat me sideways. Like, yeah, she's 5'3", but she'll find a phone book and stand up there. And so I didn't do a lot of light tubes or anything like that before. I did like we did chairs and tables and like all that kind of stuff. Like we did tons of barbed wire because barbed wire is easy to hide. But I just always wanted to do more. But like my brain, like watching a lot of the guys back then, especially guys like Danny Havoc and Thumbtack Jack or Drake Younger, or especially like Masada, like those dudes can wrestle. Those dudes can wrestle. Like especially like Masada and Drake Younger, dude. Those guys are technical wizards. And like, when I was a kid, I was like, well, I gotta know how to wrestle. I can't just sit there and get my ass beat over and over again. Like, that's not how that's gonna work. That's not a fun match. So, but eventually I kind of like took that break off from high school because, girls don't like wrestling. So I was like, I'm gonna go play music, which like I play music for me anyway, because I played death metal and shit. Girls don't like that either. But yeah. So I got a little more into that, but always like tried to keep up, with what was going on TV, or try to keep up with like what was going on in Japan and stuff like that here and there on YouTube. Then eventually freaking, I moved out and I was like going to college, and Helms called me up one day. He's like, hey man, you still like wrestling? And I was like, yeah, why? He's like, you want to come get in a ring? And I was like, a real ring? He's like, yeah. I was like, well, where at? So he's like, Salina, Kansas. I'm like, that's a ways, man. Can I catch a ride? He's like, yeah. I was like, when do you want me there? I was like, 6 a.m. I'm like, that's fine. So came out and I met Billy. And I remember he's like, you ever taken a bump before? I'm like, in a ring? I was like, no. He's like, where'd you take a bump at? I was like, on the dirt. He's like, oh, this is going to feel great. I was used to freaking dirt and asphalt bumps.
Yeah.
So I took that.
They used to take, Aaron showed me clips and stuff where they used to take like cardboard boxes and put it on the ground, and that was their ring.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm good.
It was maybe like an inch and a half, like just square of cardboard. We built a ring. We took down our buddy, the Kreitz brothers. They had a big tree house. We took all the wood off that and made an actual ring. And it was really like well put together. It looked really nice. But the second their parents saw the ring outside, they're like, "You have to take that down." I was like, "We just never had to use it." But yeah,
it's kind of like his. You're down in your basement. You had he had this wooden furniture in his basement that we would just flip around and put into a square, and then all the padding that was on that furniture went in the middle.
Yeah,
and that was the ring.
Dude, we used to just freaking go to every Dillon's and be like, hey, you got boxes you don't need? Hey, you got boxes you don't need?
We weren't about that life.
Took all of them, man.
So we built my first ring with tires, and then basically built a flooring and put the flooring over the top of the tires, so the tires gave the little bit of the give, and then we cemented 4 posts in through the wooded flooring to make our first ring.
It worked.
And it did. It was that backyard stuff. Like, don't try this at home. Fuck you. We're doing it anyways.
We're going to try our best anyway. We were unbreakable back then, man, being like 11, 12, 13, like 11 to 15, pretty much that age group. You're unbreakable. Like, seeing some of the moves even back then, like, we would try to pull off. I'm like, why are we not dead? Like, there's a move. Like, Helms has probably brought it up before, but, like, my old finisher's called the KTFO.
Oh, God, yes.
Yeah, and what you do is you hook somebody for, like, a reverse suplex, so their head's facing up. So you grab them, hook them, go up with them like they're about to go back, but instead of falling all the way back, you just drop them on their head. So it's like a pretty much like a brain buster version of a death penalty. That's what Akira and Takeda do.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Well, they would use our little guy, Throck Daddy, as the test dummy for all of their moves. Like, he was the smallest dude, so they're like, okay, we got to test this out on you. It's like, oh, man. I'm glad I'm fat.
Yeah, Throck was the test dummy for a lot of things. So you mentioned your mom earlier, and I know she's a big influence to you, especially in your gym stuff. Oh, yeah. So let's talk about her. You know, she talk about what she means to you and what she's inspired you in the gym and stuff like that.
A ton, man. My mama raised me. She's my only parent. Like, you know, my dad wasn't around really, like, pretty much my entire childhood. I met him when I was like 17, but, you know, I was pretty much an adult then. But, right. You know, she raised me. She taught me everything I really knew. She is a, like, ex-competitive bodybuilder. She's an ex-competitive powerlifter. Like, I wanted my first dumbbells when I was about 11, and she bought me my first dumbbells for Christmas, you know. So I did that at home until I was old enough. She had to be 13 to go and be, like, brought in by an adult to work at the DRC or work out there. So the second I hit 13, I was like, sweet, we're going to the gym. So my mom brought me in the gym Monday, Wednesday, Friday. We did three body part body splits. We did like, what was it? Chest tries, shoulders, back, biceps, abs, legs, glutes, and then abs again. We did those like 3 and a half hour days, just murdering me. But she taught me all that, taught me how to eat, taught me how to lift. She was like a big inspiration for me going to college and me getting my like kinesiology degree. And now it's funny though, because every time we go lift now, I teach her new stuff because she's like so used to that old school mentality. Like every time I see her doing behind the neck, like pull downs, I'm like, hey, quit that. I was like, your neck's already fused. You don't got to try and mess it up anymore. But that's a big part. I think a big part of me being good at death matches is because of my mom. Like, my mom's double tough. My mom's tougher than $2 steak. Like, yeah, she's 5'2" and maybe like 120 pounds, but she, like, I'll give you an example. The other day, you know, it was about a month ago, she called me. She's like, hey, not to freak you out, but I broke my hand at work. And I was like, how'd you break your hand? And she's like, I actually don't know, because I think I broke it like a week and a half ago, and I just didn't know it.
Golly.
She did that same thing. She's like, oh yeah, I broke my foot, and that was like a few months ago. And it's like, how long have your foot been broken? She's like, I've been broken for like 10 days. And I'm like, how do you not know that? But like, it's the same idea with me. Like, you know, who was it? Pogo the Clown from XPW. I wrestled a show with him one time. That's when I got probably my worst deathmatch injury. I had a big 8.5-inch puncture wound in my back, and I was acting like I was fine. And Pogo the Clown is like, oh, you're one of those adrenaline guys. And I was like, what do you mean? He's like, once you get that going, you act normal, no matter how bad you're hurt. And I think I get that from my mama. So.
Makes a lot of sense. And she still 100% supports you. We see her at HCW shows when you're around. You said that she didn't really like the death match wrestling stuff. She's still super against it, or is she coming around a little bit?
She's came around. Like, she's super proud of me about it. Like, I definitely I hid my back from her for like almost 2 years.
Oh wow!
I always wore long sleeves, like especially when I got like that big one on my forearm. I hid that. I wore baseball sleeves or something like that. And then it was when I was wrestling at the Cotillion and I was wrestling Lilith. I didn't think my mom was gonna come, And so I was sitting there at my merch booth, freaking had my shirt off and everything like that. And I turned my head to the right. And my mom's like right there. I'm like, oh no, I can't hide now. So she makes me do the big old 360 and she just shakes her head and smiles at me. She's like, well, you can't return them. I'm like, yeah. So, Jesus. She's proud of me about it, but like she's proud I've been to Japan and I've been all over the country being flown out and, you know, doing the thing that I love doing and people know me for it. But, you know, I'm still a baby boy, so I get the idea of not really seeing me all scarred up. But she's like, as long as my face is okay, which my face has been pretty good so far. Even my forehead ain't too bad. Like,
listen, I don't know why with those little gusset things you like to use.
Because they heal up quick, man. They're tiny little holes. They heal up super fast.
They're so sick.
They are super sick.
Well, what did you use? You used pop tabs forever because your mom wouldn't buy you razor blades.
Yeah, that was just for us getting color. I'm talking about the things he uses is for like carpeting and stuff, and they got all these
spikes,
and they
stick them in the little head. Things that you tack down while you're rolling it out.
Yeah, so what you use them for is like you use them to you can pretty much go anywhere and see them used for ceiling roofing, like to keep 2x4s and roofing together. Like you look up and see those big metal squares. That's what we use in matches now.
That's crazy.
Yeah, which is funny enough because of Masada and Danny Havoc are the big reason why we do those now.
Oh, like if we had titles for this, it'd be like nasty ass back. Like that'd be the title of this one. Dude, you should see this dude's back. It's wild.
That's what I love. I love wrestling like at HCW and stuff like that because like I'm such an oddity. You know, in wrestling, like even at deathmatch shows, my back's pretty messed up. But like, I'm in the top 5 most of the time. I'm in for number 1. But like at HCW, dude, I get a double reveal because I come out there and I have my mask on, I got my chain whirling around, and I got my vest and stuff on. But the second I take my vest off, it's a second reveal because they see, you know, wrestling's real.
You came out one time at HCW, and I was worried about the woman that walked in front of you. You were rolling them chains. I was like, oh shit! Like I was like, no. I saw the worst shit possibly happening. I was like, oh no, Billy's getting close for this shit. And then she got past you before you got like all the way around with that whip of that chain. I was like, oh my god.
I've gotten really good at it.
True professional.
But no, you've actually been talked about on Calling All Assholes this last episode. They were talking about your back. The one with the fans of HCW, they were talking about that. And then they also said that you'd be the guy that kill a bear and then wear his skin just to let everybody know about it.
I would. I would do that.
Yeah, I think when they were talking about it, they were like, who would be the most likely individual
to kill a bear,
to wrestle a bear?
Yeah.
And it was you and Aaron Helms. And they were like, well, Remington would more kill the bear and wear his fur to the ring.
Yeah, and then Aaron would just wrestle the bear.
Yeah, I do it for trophies involved.
Yeah.
Well, once you talk about Japan, man, how was that experience? Like going from, I mean, America, first of all, to Japan, but also in the whole difference between wrestling.
Bro, like, I'll talk about just kind of being, you know, around in Japan just as a person first, but dude, it's so much better. Like, it's just so good in every way, man. Like, everything's cheaper. Like, everything's, like, the craziest part, it's so clean. Like, there's no trash cans anywhere. Like, that's the craziest part. It's like, you walk around, there's no trash cans, but there's no trash on the ground anywhere. Everybody carries all their stuff with them until they can find a way, like a receptacle to put their stuff in. Like, nobody's walking around and eating during the day because that's disrespectful to walk and eat. So there's no crumbs or anything out and about. Like, everybody understands that people are trying to get everywhere, so nobody's in anybody's way. Nobody's, like, looking down at their phones, distracted, and running into people, all that stuff. Like, the subways are super quiet because everybody wants to be really kind to everybody. Like, you know, everybody, like, all the shops and stuff like that were super cool. I couldn't fit anything. That kind of sucked. I wanted some clothes, but it was hard for me to find stuff that fit. Thankfully, Hao Ming was, like, one of the wrestling spots we go to, and if you're a wrestler and you go into Hao Ming, they give you free merch. So, thankfully, they always have, like, bigger American sizes.
Nice.
So, like, all the people were there were great, man. We got random pics from people on the subway who thought we were, like, famous people. We were like, you know, some weren't even wrestling fans. They were like, oh, these guys are, like, tattooed big Americans. Like, they have to be somebody. So they got photos with us and stuff, and that was cool. Wrestling was cool, too, man. Like, especially, like, from a deathmatch perspective, a lot of the time it's different over here because even the fans who really like that stuff, they're kind of bloodthirsty, which is fine. It's what they're supposed to be doing. But, like, if you're trying to do wrestling stuff in between, they kind of heckle it. Like if you're trying to chain wrestle in your matches, a lot of the time they'll be like, "Oh, this is wrestling," or like kind of heckle it while you're like they're waiting for the blood to happen. We're over there, man. They're down for everything. Like,
Nice.
I did like a big like stalling suplex on the second rope, and they were like, the louder I held the dude, the more they cheered, and they were just hyped for the big suplex. They were not talking about the barbed wire underneath. They're like, "Oh man, this dude's doing wrestling stuff. That's awesome." Like, or
Well, and you had talked about earlier when we were talking you and your upcoming that you wanted to be a wrestler who did the death wrestling.
Yeah.
And you talked about the good death match wrestlers were good wrestlers also, and that was one of the things that I was super proud of that you focused on. You wanted to be that good wrestler. You just wanted to do deathmatch wrestling, and it helps bring like some legitimacy to what you do, because you can not only go out and out wrestle people, but you can go out there and out beat them up too.
Right.
So,
yeah, that's
great job.
It's kind of like Necro Butcher. He talks about how like his dad when he was a kid thought wrestling was fake, and he always kind of gave him crap for like I liking that fake stuff. And Necro went out there and made everybody realize this stuff's realer than it is, taking VCRs to the head and doing bar fights right next to the crowd, and you can hear the contact of knuckles on jaw.
Punches.
Like, that's one thing I did in Japan, dude. Like, when I was throwing headbutts in Japan, you could hear them from the top of the rafters.
Oof.
Like, it was skull on
You got
skull,
a hard
and you
head.
could hear it. So, like, that's kind of that's why I wanted to do is, people think this stuff's hokey, but, like, it's not. So you can make it as real as you want it to. I wanted to make everybody believe, like, man, that dude's fighting.
Right.
Whether I got light
what's the
tubes or
fandom
just
like?
these.
So what's the fans like? Like when you come out, like with your music and stuff like that, is it much different, or is everybody pop for everybody? Like, is it like a big pop for anybody that's coming out?
I would say the pops still vary. Like everybody has their favorites, but like, I got a lot more of like they're afraid of me, like very kind of Brody energy. And because I had the big beard and the long hair and like a larger stature than most Japanese people. But they were hyped, dude. Like during the like, especially when we come out there and get the louder we are, the louder they are. Like they understand the song and dance a little bit of what the crowd's supposed to provide to us for us to give them a better show. Like if they will, like they give us the energy to for us to give them the energy back, and it's a really good dance and a really good harmony versus like. Over here, I feel that's more of a push and pull. Like you're trying so hard to get people to give you a reaction so you can feed them more. Where like I don't think they get it over here in America as much. It kind of just depends where it is in the States. But over there, man, they're ready to play.
Nice.
So if you could take something that you learned over in Japan, like what would that be if you could spread that around here, either in Kansas or like wherever else it is you travel?
My biggest part, honestly, was a lot of stuff that has to do with in the back. Like, I think the biggest part was egos was a big thing. Like, Daisuke Sekimoto, like, that dude's been all over the world. Like, he's, been on every single televised wrestling thing, but he was one of the first people that helped set up and tear down the ring.
Nice.
And, like, I'm watching that, and everybody does their part some way or another. Like, all the guys that stayed in the dojo, like, helped clean up the canvas, and, like, we broke down all the light tubes to recycle them and stuff like that. And, like, nobody bitched. Like, nobody moaned. Nobody was like, man, I want to go do something today. Or, like, man, I wanted to just lay out and do nothing. I'm like, man, like, we can just get this done, and then you go do whatever you want. And so, like, that's something I kind of brought back was, like, we can do all these things, and then do all the fun stuff. And then also, like, go work and have that time off to be a better wrestler, either to go to the gym or, make sure your diet's okay or, go hit the ring, go work on a movie you're trying to fix. So going over there and realizing that the more effort you put into it in every aspect, it makes you a better wrestler all around.
Nice.
Cool.
So, any plans to go back or anywhere else overseas at all?
We're talking about it. I was supposed to go back originally in the end of September, and I was supposed to like come back in about Thanksgiving, but finances happened because we had a lot more guys going over this run, and it ended up they didn't have enough for everybody like I thought they would based on the last few tours. But I think sometime this year I'll be going over. Not sure exactly when. I think it might be when it's their colder months, which I don't mind because it's ridiculously hot over there.
Oh my!
It was like 115 when I was over there last time, dude. It was scorching. I hated it. Because well, side story after I finish this about that. But yeah, like I think next time I go over, I'm pretty sure I'm gonna do an Australia tour, and then I'm also working on doing a Scotland spot. So
nice, good job.
Trying to knock some European spots out the way.
That's fantastic.
That would be fun. So what's the worst thing you've been hit with?
Hit with?
Object-wise. Hit with.
That was just funny. I always tell people they always freak out. It's like, the thing I really don't like getting hit with is kendo sticks. I hate kendo sticks. But, like, listen to my head. If it's my head, I don't care. But,
Weird.
the push pin chair sucked.
Push pin chair.
Yeah, so instead of having, like, thumbtacks, like, you know, like the colored push pins you use for, like, putting paper up? It was covered in all of those. And I took that at Carnage Cup. That sucked. I was like, cool, I got that one out the way. I'm never taking that again. I don't know. I've never really had any, like, weapons that really, like, overly sucked. Like, I've had technically had my skull, like, aerated in my first death match. Like, Billy was there. So, like, I don't know. Nothing's too bad to me.
He goes by the Carnivore Remington Rhor for a reason.
Yeah, I've I don't know, like I've had clips, I've had syringes like shoved through my lips. I've had like some in my tongue. Like, you know, I've been weed whackered 4 or 5 times. Like, I've had both of my knees gusseted. Like, you know, it just depends.
Does that worry you at all? Like getting too hurt where you can't continue down the road? Like, is that at the back of your mind a little bit?
I mean, like it's always a thing, but it's always an idea. But usually it's a lot of trust. Because that's why one thing I really like. Billy brought up the fact of like it definitely matters to be a good wrestler, to be a good deathmatch wrestler. Because to be a good wrestler, you have to understand about caring about the person, like being aware of what's happening in the ring and being aware of the chances of like injury in the ring with whoever you're working with. And to be a deathmatch wrestler, you have to be turned up to 11 to do that. Because, like, the reason why we call it deathmatch wrestling in the first place is we're not trying to kill each other, but the possibility of death is there. It has happened, sadly. You know, Nick Gage thankfully got brought back, but he did die. So, like, these things can happen. But, I mean, I've never had any terrible injuries besides, like, I guess besides the puncture wound, but I didn't get anything from that. It missed my lung, so I was fine.
It was a nasty wound, though. Good.
Yeah, it was. But the worst injury I've ever got was from a hardcore match, but it was from a regular spot. So, like, yeah, death matches have a possibility of getting you hurt more, but you can just get hurt as bad in a regular match as you can in a death match.
Well, is there any females that you've ever seen that like you wish you could kind of go toe to toe with and be in a hardcore match with any of them?
Oh yeah, dude. Like I've been thankful and fought a lot of freaking my favorite like female workers, like Mickey and Randy West, dude. I fought Mickey every day, twice on Sunday. She's rearranged my teeth, like literally has shoved my teeth around. Like she's double tough. Lilith Grimm is one I've always wanted to fight. Like we've always talked about it for years. Like we've had a regular match, but we've always wanted to have a death match. Heidi Howitzer is definitely one. Like we've talked about it, and like we're just waiting for somebody to book that nonsense because we smiling and grinning the whole time. We're just rocking each other's jaws. Let me think.
Yeah, he's got to work a lot of the good female deathmatch wrestlers.
Well, I heard you say the Cotillion. Was that a female wrestler that you brought up?
Yeah, that was me and Lilith.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what you said. Okay. I actually didn't hear the name, but I knew that it sounded like.
Yeah, me and Lilith Grimm worked that Cotillion match, man. It was funny because that crowd was super split. Because they were like, yeah, we really want Rim to win, but he's fighting a girl. And like, oh, man, we really want Lilith to win, but she's fighting Rim. Like, it was, you know, we were beating the tar at each other, too, man. Like, it was fun.
But yeah, my introduction to her was I was standing in the ring getting ready to announce, or I was getting ready to announce because for the champion, or it was shot at the championship. That's what it was. And the referee, I forgot his name. He said, "Hey, don't look directly at her." I was like, "What?" And I couldn't hear him. I was like, "What?" And then as I turned, that's when the lights went. I was like, "Oh shit!" And then I was like, "Okay, thanks for the heads up." I was like, "I'm gonna chew Billy's ass out now."
Because she did that. She did it where she hit that
angle grinder,
sparkler
grinder too.
Yeah.
And
I was like, "What the
shot?" It was fantastic.
It's so dope.
Yeah, such a good person, good gal. Yeah,
she's the only woman I've ever actually said her height and weight. And I was like, and I didn't ask. I was just writing it down. I was like, so she goes, "I want this." I was like, "All right."
Well, yeah, she loves being freaking.
I go by my height and weight. I was like, "All right, you're the boss."
She tells people thick thighs save lives.
Yeah, dude. She has that finisher where she takes out dudes at the thighs, man. She's a big girl, man. She got arms like almost as big as mine. Like,
bro, she's.
I wouldn't mess with her. That's all I know. I'm not messing with her. I ain't gonna piss her off either. So
yeah, she's tough, man. She's tough.
Did you have anything else for him, or did you want to get into his match coming up?
We can move over to a little bit of the stuff we got coming. So, by the time this comes out, we will be 5 days away from the first HCW show of the year. And you've been scheduled against Texas's own Kane Carter.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about that match?
I'm excited. I've seen Kane's work a bit, and I see that he likes to talk a lot. He's got a mouth as big as Texas, we'll put it that way.
Facts, very much facts. When I was putting this card together and looking at who I got, having you back pretty much full time for a while is a blessing. You bring just a different aspect to HCW, and being one of my kids, man, I love having my kids be at my shows. And I'm like, what kind of match can I give Rim that the crowd's going to love him anyways, and now what can I do to make that even more? And I'm like, why not put Kane Carter versus this guy and see what kind of magic we can make?
Yeah, I don't think he's fought anybody like me. So
no, I don't think so either. He's let's see, he fought Dutch, he fought Chance,
Brandon
Cottonwood, but I don't know if he's stepped in the ring with anyone of your stature and your viciousness.
His first show, he wrestled and lost to somebody. Who was that? That was his first HCW show. And then he came out and disrespected Dutch after that.
I'm not sure. Did he wrestle Ray at that show?
It was Ray. I remember that. Okay. I remember that.
But I'm looking forward to it. I think it'll be good. I want to see that chemistry and how that match goes. So
the fans are going to love that match.
I think so too.
I think it's going to have a lot of intensity. Who was it? It was at the tattoo convention show. Diablo Azteca talked to me afterwards. He's like, "Man, it's really crazy. Every time you slide in the ring, the intensity level goes up like 10%." And I was like, "Yeah,
yeah."
Everybody's watching. They're like, "All right, yeah, we got to watch this." You see, actually, at the last show that you were at, the Red Kettle Rumble that I got to actually announce you at, you saw people going to the concession stand, and when you were coming out, they all ran back to their seats.
Good.
I don't know if you noticed. Yeah, when I was announcing you, and you came out third, right? You were a part of that triple threat.
Yeah, during the tag match. Yeah.
I saw people going to the concession stand, and then when I said the third person of this puzzle piece, like they heard the Carnivore, and they all ran back.
They hear that the alarms going off.
They know when they hear the word Carnivore.
For sure. Well, what else we got that shows, Bob?
Do you want to start at the top?
Yeah, let's just break it down from the beginning.
Well, the VIP match is going to be for the Sunflower title. And is this Nabria? Is that how you pronounce that?
Nabira.
Yeah. Nabira, it's she was one of my students from a while back. She moved to Amarillo. Trains a little bit with Handgun Dan and his company up there, and coming in and getting a title shot right off the beginning, and crowd gets to see Mindy Grace back in the ring, and that's going to be exciting.
And so she's making her HCW debut, Nabira versus Mindy Grace for the Sunflower title. Match number 1 of the night. First match of all is going to be a banger. So if you don't have tickets yet, make sure you go get those on their Facebook page. They have a link for that.
So that match is going to be an open challenge for the out of luck title that
Kit Reaver got.
Kit Reaver has, and I've heard some rumblings. I've had a couple people message me about who wants to answer that challenge, but you'll have to show up to find out.
Yeah, and I was talking about the VIP. Don't forget to show up for that one because that's a title match, so you don't want to miss it.
That's facts.
Like you said, it was open challenge match. Kit Reaver. Who did he face at the Leavenworth show for that? Was that Logan?
Who did he work in Leavenworth? You remember him? Who Kit worked
It was
Logan.
I think it was Logan Knight. Yeah.
It was Logan? Okay.
Yeah, I think it was Logan Knight.
Match number 2, Bruisador was Barefoot Brandon Cottonwood.
Boss fight.
That's going to be a show match. That's going to be a match to watch.
Big boys.
Brandon Cottonwood's really started getting a following in HCW. That crowd, when that music hits, they get behind him. They're clapping and stomping, and he hasn't been able to pick up a victory just yet, but he's got another mountain to climb if he's going to beat Bruisador Valencia.
He's winning over the people, even though he's not getting the W's. But that's more important, I think.
And this one is a tag team match. Is that right? Jekyll and Maverick, part of the Seventh Seal.
Correct. So the new group, the Seventh Seal, consisting of Blade, Simon, Darian Jekyll, Michael Maverick, led by KT Lynn, will be in the house. And Michael Maverick and Darian Jekyll are attacked Drasic after Simon and Drasic's match at the Red Cattle Rumble. And Flex Reed came out and made the save, but they got the revenge on Flex before the Rumble match. And so we've set up Michael Maverick and Darian Jekyll will face 3 the Hard Way and Flex Reed and Drasic.
That'll be, I mean, that was the first time meeting Flex was actually at the Wichita pop-up show that he had.
Yeah, Flex is a good dude. I've been friends with Flex for a long time. He runs WWX. They do a lot of charity shows and do a lot of stuff. They're actually doing the NOAH tryout to go to Japan here coming February 8th.
And following that tag team match, and they're at Larned, right? Before I move on?
Correct.
Okay, yep. Larned. All right. And then following the tag team match, we have gorgeous Gavin Bush taking on Mr. Dutch McClain for another rematch after what happened at Red Kettle Rumble.
That's a grudge match.
So that is a grudge match.
Triple grudge match.
Gavin Bush, I don't know, like, Dutch said Gavin sprayed him with that mist and rolled him up and pulled the tights to get that victory, and he wants revenge. But Gavin Bush is slowly making a name for himself, whether it's by cheating or by just telling the fans that he's prettier than them. But he says everybody needs a little Bush.
So that's who I worked at Leavenworth last show.
Yeah, how'd that match go?
I ate his mirror at the end of it. So I think you understood the message.
Maybe he got the message. You know, that poor kid, Gavin is a super hard worker. And,
he is.
Good kid. Maybe just gone down the wrong path with the fans, but he's making a name for himself, and in the wrestling world, that's what matters.
Well, he got work during that Rumble, too.
He got abused during that Rumble. They're lucky the Carnivore didn't abuse some of the people putting their hands on him.
It almost happened. I thought about it. How much violence is going?
He hasn't got their blood running, huh?
Run hot.
As long as he don't spray you, I don't think he has the guts to spray you, though.
No, he tried. I grabbed his mister afterwards, too, and drank some of it to wash it down.
You ate his beer and then drank his mist to go down?
Mm-hmm.
Damn, bro.
I let him know.
All right.
I mean, you had to put him on notice.
Well, our next match of the evening is going to be a fan favorite, I think. That's going to be for the HCW Tag Team Championship. Only Friends is taking on ACFC.
Ooh.
You know, 2 very highly cheered for babyface teams, but Only Friends getting a title opportunity, and we don't know if they'll do their normal, comedy style wrestling, being only friends more than likely, but ACFC is out to prove a point that they're the best tag team in Kansas.
Facts. And then got another part of the Seventh Seal coming in, taking on for the Independence Championship, Simon Balasong versus Chance Kerrigan.
You know, Simon, what he lacks in size, he makes up with pure dementedness. Like that kid,
he's really cunning.
He is very cunning. He that twisted personality of his, and that split personality. And I don't know if he goes by Simon Balasong anymore. He told me that Balasong was dead, and it's just Simon.
Just Simon. But
But he has a title opportunity against Chance Kerrigan, who is still undefeated in HCW and still that Independence champion.
So what was the decision on this match? Like, why was it Simon and not Blade or Jekyll or Carnivore?
You know, Chance wanted Blade badly. He wanted his revenge, and Katie Lynn made the decision that
she is running the dogs, huh?
He would face Simon, and if he could get through Simon, then maybe she would let the monster out of the cage.
I told him last episode that she reminds me of Halle Berry from John Wick 3, the one running the dog, letting the dogs loose.
Oh, yeah, I could see that. Yeah.
Oh, that's a good point. I like that.
So, but no, after that match, we got Mr. Remington Rhor versus Kane Carter for the. Is there any stipulation with this match, or is it just one-on-one?
No, it's just one-on-one. Like I said, I wanted to, Remington coming back,
Kane's toes wet,
being ready, and Kane Carter wanting to step his game up and step into the big leagues. You know, Rem's an ex-HCW champion, and Kane Carter has his sights set on that title, and to get to a belt, you gotta beat the people that are in that position. So
yeah, if you can beat the inaugural champ, the first champ, maybe you can get a shot at the new champ.
Very first.
Well, that leaves us with the main event, and I think this is going to be one of the most anticipated main events that we've had coming up for a while.
Good.
No, have they had feuds in the past? No, but it's a big match because nobody's gotten to see Ray in action since he got that title.
Correct. In that big cage match, everyone's seen Ray get hurt. And I've talked to Ray multiple times. He said he is good to go. He's ready to fight. He's a fighting champion, and he will be in action that night. So I'm going off of his word and got him in a match, but he's in a huge match versus a man that is no stranger to Kansas wrestling, and that is Paradox.
Man. What do you think about that?
It's going to be a fight. The way Paradox has been going, I'm not sure if it's going to be a fair fight, but we'll see.
You've had your run-ins with Paradox. What can you say about that man? Is he tough?
He is tough. He's super tough. He's tougher than I thought. I remember the first time I fought him, he hit me outside the mouth. I'm like, okay. I didn't realize it was going to play like that today.
You like being hit, don't you?
But yeah, that's why he woke me up. I was like, okay, we're going 100 today. But no, he's I don't know. I think people sleep on him too much. I think people see like this blonde-haired, blue-eyed kid, and they're like, oh, he's probably a pushover. But I think no, he's farm strong. He's a strong kid, and he'll hit you upside the head. That enziguri he throws is murder. If you don't, which I think Ray's prepared for. He's fought guys like me. He's fought guys in the cage. I think if he's healthy, it's going to be a win for the fans more than anybody.
If he can keep that bat out of the ring, I think it'll be a really good match.
Yeah.
You think that injury plays a big part? Like I don't know how bad the man's injured. But he says he's good to go. And that's all we can do is kind of take his word for it.
I think Paradox is going to try to exploit it no matter how Ray's feeling. Which I mean, part of my brain's like,
I wouldn't blame him.
I get it.
Yeah, I get it too. Yeah,
I understand.
I don't know,
man. I don't know.
So what about you, man? Got your eyes set on any of these HCW titles? Or are you trying to go back after that main one?
I kind of want to go back for that main one. Because me and Ray haven't fought since I got it. And I think about it, it's like, I don't know, like, that's not really an injustice, but I feel like Ray can't call himself a fighting champ if he hasn't fought the original champ since he's had it.
That's a good point.
So
last time you guys did fight, it was wasn't it 4?
Yes, it was.
To go to the main event to get the title for the first time.
Just for the tournament.
I mean, he cheap shotted you and you were injured at the end of that first match.
Yeah, he had his boys run out and bring me to that chair. My ribs were softened up, and I had the fight injured. So I guess I'll have to kind of do the same for Paradox. But I'd want him 100%, and I want to be 100%, and I want another shot at that title, or even just to prove that he can keep it. That's more of the idea here.
Nice.
You don't want a shot at breaking hearts, breaking Chance Kerrigan's undefeated road or realm that's going on right now?
I think I'd rather Chance coming to me if he really wants something to prove.
Touche.
If he thinks he can keep riding that record and keep being undefeated and unpinned, he'll pick the biggest dog in the yard and see if he can still stay unpinned.
He's had some big ones out there, huh? I mean, he got blood. How many times did he get blood splashed?
Bloodbath 3 times. And the last one where Jekyll and Maverick launched him in the air into the bloodbath. But what I think Rim's saying is, he's undefeated and still that Independence champion, but that Independence champion's the mid card. If he wants to really show what he is, he needs to step his game up and step to that main event caliber.
Gotcha.
Check out the big balls.
I'm just glad it's not me. I'll just say their names. I was like, hey, it's this guy.
Well, good stuff. I think that breaks down all of the 25th show. We've released all of our shows for this year in Wichita. We've released all of our shows for Leavenworth. The Leavenworth shows are a lot of fun. We're just still trying to build that crowd. But our Wichita crowd, there's a lot to say about that Wichita crowd. Gets good crowds, but not only that, but they are absolutely loud. And I say this a lot, like we respect and appreciate everything they do. But the amount of noise that Wichita crowd makes, I'd put it up against a lot of places.
They're invested too. I think that's the biggest thing, is that they feel like they're a part of something.
Yeah, and that's what we shoot for. That's, all of our people, they go out, they shake hands, they sell their merch, they will talk to people. They don't just blow people off, and I think that's what helps make HCW what it is.
Did you listen to the last episode that you had the fans on with Calling Us Assholes?
I did. I've watched that.
Awesome.
I listened to that one, and I listened to
Only Friends?
The Only Friends one. I
haven't gotten there yet.
Jordan's doing a good job over there. She guys keep pushing and keep making things great.
Yeah, just those two fan bases, or those two fans right there for this fan base is, like, I would say, one of the legs of it.
Yeah, I agree. They make a lot of noise for us.
That's
So what are you going to be on Calling All Sassholes, Big A?
Whenever I get the call, man. I'm easy to work with.
I'm sure she'll call you right after this. After she hears you say that, she'll go, here we go. She's still upset that Gavin Bush hasn't accepted her friend request.
That's between her and Gavin Bush. If you got to do what you got to do.
So I've asked Billy this all of 2024, and he's focusing on a whole bunch of other stuff from the business side of things. So you have been able to watch some of the shows, and you've been able to see stuff from the backstage. Who's been one of the most impressive wrestlers for you for HCW?
That's hard to do, man, because there's a lot of really good workers, man.
Who's been one of your favorites to actually step in the ring with and kind of work? We've heard Drake Gallows' name quite a bit. We've heard Ray's name.
I say Ray's probably the top of my list right now. Like Ray, I just love, because we're fighting. We're fighting.
Right.
Like we don't pussyfoot around. Like, we're not trying to gaga. We're trying to throw hands. And
right.
As I said before, man, I love blurring that line for everybody. That's a big one for me. I really liked working Gavin, like Gavin Bush. He's young, but he's moldable, and I think he's going to be something. Hopefully, he gets past the point of looking in the mirror so much and looks at the person across the ring from him more often. But I think he's going to be something special.
Who do you think is one that's not talked about enough?
Not talked about enough?
Yeah.
I'll throw a name for you. My thoughts. Hector De Oro.
Yeah. No, I 100%. Yeah, I think he's like easily top 2, top 3 best big guys we have, and nobody brings it up enough.
What is it about Hector that you
I think people see him
most?
Coming in with the heavy like Mexicano entrance, and that's all they ever see. I'm like, no, man, he's bringing it every time. He brings an intensity, he brings a personality, he brings a big character with him, along with that Haas status build he's got. And I agree, I 100% agree with that. I was also gonna say I think Grace doesn't get talked about enough either, but Mindy Grace.
I do agree, and we've talked about this before on some stuff like. The women's wrestling is hard to do. There's not a lot of women around this area.
Right. And
to bring in a woman from out of the area is so expensive, it's hard to really justify it. So we keep trying to put our women in good situations, and I keep trying to find other women to bring in, but Grace works her tail off. So
that's what I'm saying. She's a workhorse, no cowgirl, pun intended. But and I understand what you're saying too. It's the other part. It's not even really a financial thing. It's the fact that a lot of these women, since they're such a small community as is already booked up, usually like a year in advance.
Oh yeah, way too. Like for me to get a woman in, it takes. I need to message them 4 to 6 months ahead of time before our show to even get an opportunity to try to get somebody. And that's a testament. Like the ones that travel are getting the work, and got to be on top of your game to get them in.
Right. And
go ahead. Sorry.
I was say I have like I was talking about Mickey and Randy and like all these other women that I work with, like Jess DeMoss from like H2O and stuff like that. Like I love to bring them in or help bring them in, but like they're good. That's the bad part about being good is you're busy. So.
Well, going back to Hector, like maybe you can get your thoughts on this from as an owner's perspective. Like, what do you think Dickie does to make that right about what he did about making him give up his out of luck title for him to give it to the tag team champions or the ex tag team champions? Sorry.
I don't know. Like you took a title away from a man to give it to another group. Like he earned that. He worked his tail off. He won that Rumble match to win that belt, and you just took it from him. And I don't know what Dickie's got to do to make up for that, or if he can.
I mean, even Chocolate Violence was not very kind of willing to take that belt a little bit, and in the beginning. Now, I think after the match got started, I think they were all for it, trying to get their titles back. But like you said before, when you saw the video, like they didn't want nothing to do with it.
No, they were just as upset as Hector was. That's their boy. That's their guy. Like, they didn't want to take something that he earned to give them a shot. They felt that they should have got a shot regardless.
Makes you wonder if it's in the back of their mind that what happened to Ray will happen to them when they become a champion, or if like, say, Chocolate gets their title back, so what's Dickie going to do then?
Who knows?
So
I think Hector might just realize he's a little more of the war dog for the Empire and Chocolate Violence than he thinks he is after a while. As somebody who's been in a similar situation, you can only get your food taken away so many times before you snap at somebody.
Ooh, that's facts.
Poking the bear.
Yeah, give it to him, let him taste it, and then take it away. That only makes people angrier.
He didn't even get a chance to get it challenged against him, did he?
No.
Damn.
And that title's a cool title. It has to be defended if someone challenges you for it, or like Kit's doing, he has it in an open challenge. But then you can openly challenge any other title for any other title with that belt just by cashing it in. But it's not like a Money in the Bank type situation where you can cash it in just by running out. You have to make your challenge known and then the match be set up. So it's an interesting belt. It's a cool little belt to have, and gives a lot of different scenarios for HCW.
It's going to be cool for the future, for sure.
Yeah.
But no, is there anything else you kind of want to promote, Remington, or is there anything you kind of want to highlight before we? I know you want to go work out.
Yeah, I gotta lift, man. I feel good today,
What's all
man. I
your
haven't looked in
socials,
like
big
2
dog?
days coming sick.
Yeah, your socials, kind of where they can find you, like maybe videos. Do you have stuff on YouTube? Let them know all that.
Yeah, if you ever want to find matches of mine, you can search Remington Rhor. That's spelled RHOR on YouTube. If you follow me on Instagram, that's where I mostly post a lot of my clips. Get a taste of what I do. It's Carnivore_Rhor, spelled the same way. Follow me on Facebook. Like, you might shoot me a friend's request. I already have like 1,000 people in my pending friends, so like you might just be thrown in the purgatory, but you can still follow me and follow my stuff. Just search Remington Rhor on Facebook. I don't use Twitter and X because that place is useless now. So, but Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, you can find me.
Fantastic.
Well, hey, I think that's an episode unless you have something else you want to highlight.
No, I think we're good to go. So you have officially been chopped with fucking chops. Thank you, guys.
Later.
In the ring with nowhere to go, blood, sweat, and tears. It's a battle of the wills. We bring the heart to the heartland. Heart to the heartland. Yeah. Turn the volume up.